My Lords, although I voted, I didn't campaign in the run-up to the referendum because, despite on balance believing we'd be better off out, there were genuine and strong arguments on both sides. But we are where we are, and we now need to get on with it. My Lords, before I go further, I must declare an interest as a beneficiary of payments under the Common Agricultural Policy. I've listened carefully to the debate yesterday and this morning. Much of it, my Lords, has been fighting last year's battle, and I hope your Lordships will forgive me if I take the rather novel course of making a speech on the second reading of the bill before us. Many issues have been raised and amendments have already been laid which deal with all manner of matters, and I've no doubt there will be more to come. And I only intend to address three key areas which have been raised in another place and are covered by amendments which have been tabled already here. The first is that of EU nationals living here and their right to continue to do so, which is something many of us, if not all of us, would wish to see. The government has said that it is prepared to give them that right and that it must be reciprocal, with our citizens living in EU countries being given the same right. However, there is pressure to give EU citizens the right to continue to live here unilaterally. But, my Lords, it is in the nature of negotiations that related and reciprocal matters are dealt with together. If one point is conceded, this risks losing the reciprocal point. So, by definition, to do this would run the risk of British citizens currently living in another EU country losing the right to continue to reside in that country. That, it seems to me, would be grossly unfair on them. And that is why I would resist any attempt to insist upon a unilateral approach. The second issue I want to address is that of scrutiny by Parliament before the triggering of Article 50 and completion of the process 2 years later. Between the triggering of Article 50 and completion of the process 2 years later. In this context, scrutiny means two principal things: the provision of information and allowing time to debate it. And I have no problem with allowing plenty of time for debate. As regards the provision of information, though, the government has said that it will provide Parliament with the same information that the EU Parliament receives. And that seems fair and right. But as regards the provision of additional information, my Lords, my career was as a negotiator. I negotiated a significant number of corporate acquisitions and disposals in Europe and the Far East during that career. One of the golden rules about negotiating is that information about your counterparty's position and about the detail of what's important to him is gold dust. You learn everything you can about his backstop positions, about what he will negotiate on and what he cannot, about the intricate details of his financial position, about things which may not seem to be important, but may later prove to be. It is a forensic science, and it makes all the difference to the outcome. Any information about our position which comes into the possession of the large number of people and institutions that make up our counterparty, the Commission, the Council, and the Parliament and their various members, will be used against us. That is why I would resist the provision of additional information. And my third issue is closely related, and it is that of impact assessments. I've just explained my reasons for resisting strongly the provision of information beyond that provided to the EU Parliament. An impact assessment on Brexit, if it were to be of any value, would reveal information about our options and about our negotiating position, which would be hugely valuable to our counterparty, the negotiating representatives of the EU, and without a shadow of doubt would be used against us by them. And I'm afraid that confidentiality arrangements allowing limited access to documents have a habit of failing to prevent leaks, so I don't find that suggestion of any comfort. So I'd resist any proposal for impact assessments. My Lords, those are my views on what I regard as three key areas. Many other issues have been and will be raised, and I look forward to hearing the views of those noble Lords still to speak, the response of my noble friend the Minister to the issues raised in this debate, and to the debates in the subsequent stages of this bill.